Try and get a bit pizzazz. Let's try and get the energy up. No, my too.
Should do a wee outtakes video afterwards with JJ asking Wilbur questions and I'm sitting here. Hi there, welcome back to another one of our videos. I'm joined by JJ and Wilbur, who's absolutely adamant to stay on camera, so you probably see him popping up.
Bringing the chill vibes.
He is.
Loving it.
He is. We're going to be discussing today a recent panel event that JJ did with two experts in the insurance field.
Yeah.
But stay tuned because we are going to be saying at the end how you can access the webinar and the white paper.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And we'll give a few little hints about what's actually featured in those. Brilliant. In this. So I'm excited to talk about it because there's a lot that we talked about, and it is a space that, whilst on the surface, you might think, why insurance? There is a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So why insurance? Why this topic?
So we were really interested because we've done lots of work across the insurance sector, and we started to see some people making those changes and some people looking at the audiences and asking questions about how they can add value. And we thought it'd be a really interesting one to have that conversation around, to see, what people in the sector were thinking and where they saw things going.
Okay, so in simple terms, if you would explain it to someone like me, what would you mean by the shift from traditional insurance methods to more innovative strategies?
Right, you go on compare the market, you choose which one's the cheapest, and you're done. Yeah. Because you don't really see the value of it, almost like until it's too late. Mm-hmm. And you kind of hope that nothing's going to go wrong anyway. So, that's the thing. And what the digital transformation space has enabled for the insurance sector is to kind of flip things on its head a little bit and say, well, we could help you reduce your insurance premiums by improving your circumstances, right? So by further protecting your home, you might reduce your home insurance. By driving more safely, you might reduce your car insurance. By living more healthily, you might reduce your health insurance. And so likes of companies like Vitality have had a point system in place for quite some time that allows that to happen. Yeah. And I was really interested in this because it includes complex data, it includes personalization of the experience, but most importantly, it creates or has the potential to create connection with consumers throughout their life cycle with that brand. Mm-hmm. So it means that they're not sort of buying into a brand and then just forgetting about it until the time comes. They're having a conversation and they're getting value and they're getting some satisfaction from that service.
So Shilpa spoke about how the insurance industry is quite risk averse when it comes to change. How can the insurance industry get over that fear and adapt for their customers?
So for the insurance sector, that's really hard because they're all about risk. Like every single thing is that, like their product is risk. So last thing they can do is do something that is questionable. They have to be, really by the book. But that's not serving them very well in the space because it's not so much about risk, but you do have to be progressive. You do have to try new things and improve your service and work on that. So I was really interested to find out how Shilpa and Maria had dealt with those challenges with their respective businesses, and how they were able to affect change, try things, and also get leadership on board with change. And smart businesses are ones where they're starting to understand that's what digital transformation is, and starting to implement an approach that's based on tech change, but also team change, habit change, process change as well.
So what were the key takeaways from the webinar that you think will have the biggest impact on the insurance industry moving forward?
So, obviously I'm not going to give everything away because you need to watch it. There's lots of great advice and guidance that they gave in the webinar itself. I do think that there's a couple of things that came out that were really interesting. One of the things that was really interesting was the sort of culture that you create around innovation and making mistakes. And so it was really exciting for me to hear how important that was for them. that they see themselves as people who can encourage their teams to try things and protect them in the corporate hierarchy. And they are both successfully able, and have been both successfully able, to kind of create that dynamic. And I think that's hugely transformative in and of itself. I think there's obviously tech stuff. Everybody is talking about AI at the moment, and it's an area that obviously we're super excited in and looking at left, right, and centre. They are thinking about it too, but in the industry, being so risk averse, is finding that side of things challenging, because one has to take a different approach to implementing AI than they would to other technologies. So to put it simply, an AI as an agent doing what it ought to do for an insurance company. So, I can phone up and speak to an AI, or I can go online and speak to an AI. It ought to be able to solve my problem, not just give me a set of predefined answers. But giving predefined answers allows the company to control what the answers specifically are. So that avoids risk. Whereas speaking to a human, they don't give predefined answers. They're trained to give certain types of answers. And we need businesses to move in a direction where they're thinking about AI as almost in the same way as training a human being to do the job. The long and the short of it is, I think that the process around implementing AI for companies like insurance is going to be really interesting, and it's going to be hugely beneficial, because so much of that space is about having those conversations that are difficult. Like, I'm going to get a conservatory added to my house. Do I have to do anything? And to scale those sort of kind of open conversations is really difficult and really, really costly.
So there was a lot of talk in the webinar around innovation. I think it was Maria that said we need to be brave about how we innovate.
Yeah, that's right.
What challenges do you foresee for industry leaders as they're going to adopt these new digital transformation initiatives?
So small steps delivered really fast is better than trying to go, even if you're in a situation of technical debt, it's better than trying to do everything in one go, because you're never going to be able to deliver it fast enough. And the world, as we know, the tech world is changing so fast, you're trying to predict a future that is going to have changed by the time you get there. Yeah. So you're developing a solution to something that is not going to be relevant by the time you've launched it. And the great thing with Maria and Shilpa is they're both doing it in real. They're already doing it. And the insights they gave around, some of the cultural things, some of the operational things, and even some of the things about just scaling a project are really interesting in there.
Brilliant. So for those who couldn't attend the webinar, what are the most important trends that they should be paying attention to in the year ahead?
Well, the most important thing they should be paying attention to is to attend our webinars in the future, I think. These conversations, and I say this a lot, these conversations are not specific to the sector that we're talking about. There are things that take from that which are not specific to that sector, that are general observations and insights into how the world is changing based on the way that tech is advancing and how to respond to it and so on. So I think there's always a lot there, even if it's not aimed at your sector. So I think it is worth saying that actually it's worth tuning in. So your consumers will be looking for that sort of experience when they go online. One that is where I can just talk to the brand. I don't have to wait for someone on a call. I don't have to, email and then maybe some point over the next few days get a message back. All of those sorts of things that are kind of that deliver inertia in that space are going to be, you're going to need to get rid of them to satisfy their needs, because it's not so much can you meet their needs, it's more that their needs are advancing and you've got to keep up with them. I think all businesses need to be looking at how they can implement those things in a way that's safe. P.S. It can be safe. It's not just, putting your private data into ChatGPT and no one knows where it goes. That's not a thing that's a problem anymore. But the processes around it are different, as I've sort of described. So I think that is a really big one to watch. And I feel like it ought to be said that if you're not doing it, then you're missing out, and you need to be thinking about it.
So there's so much to discuss. We could end up being here all day.
Yeah.
Having a gab. But
I'm happy being here all day. By the way, I've got.
You have a pal right there.
My little pal down here, who's just absolutely loving the strokes.
He's brilliant. So thankfully we have a white paper that people can go to. Where can they find that, and what does it go into? So
every time we do an online panel event, we create a paper after it. Yeah. Which really intends to wrap up all of the thoughts that were discussed and bring some other insights as well from around the sector, and just to sort of key it into the current conversation on the topic.
Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Thank you everybody for watching as well, and if you like this video, which I'm sure they did, then tap the like button, share it, and Wilbur and I will come back next time to have another chat with you.
Get to see more of Wilbur next time maybe.
Absolutely.